Good morning, everyone. Paul Duncan here with GammaEdge. Today is Friday, March 4th. I'm sorry. Let's get right into it. So the summary for today, I'm still very cautious. Something about bombing nuclear facilities in Europe kind of puts the market on edge. That dropped the ES overnight. It's recovered. We had a favorable report this morning, but very mixed signals. So we're going to be cautious overall. Short term, the market model using the cumulative tick. We had a failure yesterday, what we call an upside failure. This is bearish. I'm actually looking for a short entry here using short ETFs. So you may want to look at that. I'm also looking for an upside reversal, potentially negating yesterday's lower lows. So if we break yesterday's lows on the cumulative tick, I'll probably enter a short position. If we take off, especially based on the news this morning, I might start some form of an upside. We'll just have to see. The medium term, still breadth is terrible. We're bearish. It's very hard to get into a medium term position if you can't get into a short term position. So I don't see anything there to look at. Longer term, we're not going to turn bullish until we get multi-day buying. We've been back and forth, and we're not making any progress there. As far as the futures are concerned, the ES, as measured by ESH22, which is the March contract, it is holding the 43.10 overnight, with the exception of the sell-off down below 42.80, right, 42.83. We did hold what we call negative transition below this level. All net negative delta and gamma exists, and so expect higher volatility if we lose that 43.10 level. One thing that is positive, though, is that negative GEX dropped from to 4,000 from 4,300. A number of stocks, actually running some scans this morning, are showing this drop. That generally tests very bullish, so we want to take a close look at stocks that may have that kind of characteristic. The VIX and the volatility of the VIX, well, the VIX remains elevated, but the VVIX is decreasing, and it just closed below its 20-day moving average, which is historically a bullish sign for volatility to come in. The SPX, we are in a net negative regime. We've been here. It continues. It actually got worse yesterday. But on the positive side, the 0 DTE today may provide an end-of-day rally if that net negative gamma is monetized. So time of day of that monetization and the moneyness of that monetization matter. When we look at the cumulative tick, as I said, we had lower lows here. We had a failure to proceed yesterday, and I am actually looking to see if we should get into a short position here using an index ETF, a contra index ETF. The key levels for today, everything in red is a drop. When we have deltas dropping and when we have gammas dropping, typically that means puts are being added. You can see some positive numbers here though too. So we have a mixed bag of signals coming in here. In general, though, when we see the negative GEX drop on something that over here at 4,000, that's a good sign. We did see negative GEX actually go up for the combo complex. That may counterweight what happens in the ES. Simply don't know. Mixed bag, though. We're right in the middle of the ranges here. The directionality is undetermined at this time, and I think what that means is just play the markets as you see. We're not in a very strong environment either way. The ES, as I said, we came down because of the bombing of the nuclear facility. This was a news-driven reaction overnight. You can see it played forward, and we did hold that 43.10, which we've been sitting at now for a couple days. That is the negative trans level. Everything below that level is in negative gamma condition on the ES. just more confluence if that continues to be the case. You can see with the report this morning at 8:30, volatility did come down. We did get a bump up in the ES. Mixed signals here, but as long as we're below the zeros but moving towards the zeros, we could see a decrease in volatility, and that could help us with that rally at the end of the day. The setup for the end of the day rally, if there is going to be one, is because we have a slight negative bias in negative gamma below spot price. If these are monetized into the close today, we could see a push higher. If they're monetized throughout the day, probably won't see very strong, and you can see the counterbalance to the top. So not hugely negative bias, but enough that we are going to have a net negative expiry. You can see that here. This is the single expiry at circle 1, net negative here. The strength of that gives us about a negative 5,000. Not very strong in general. I do note the highest expiry in the calls today is up here at 4,500. You can see where we call the goalposts between 4,350 and 4,400 are really the areas that are the dominant gamma expiry for today. This blue box really is highlighting where I think our range is going to be today. This is a very drifty area, directionless. So expect some volatility as we play within here today. Finally, when we take a look at the SPX complex, hugely net negative gamma. We've actually increased overall compared to yesterday by about 25,000 contracts net negative, which is fairly significant. We're still in a deep hole and continue to be in that hole. I note here at circle 3, the JPM long put hedges, we probably are not going to be able to push past that very quickly. You can see we also have some other areas of liquidity on the way up, 4,450 for instance, 4,500. And of course, there's within this directionless range, we've got 4,400 to the upside. On the downside, 4,350 does remain in play, and the biggest one is down here at circle 4, where we've got 4,300. I do expect that in this area shown by the blue box, we are going to be relatively directionless and bouncing around. So just be aware of that. So that's it. You can find us at GammaEdge.us. That'll take you to a sign-up page, which will bring you over to our Discord, 14-day free trial, no risk to you, all the tools turned on. We've got a great group. We're active in voice. We've got real-time charting, all sorts of neat things to help you not only learn about Gamma, but be able to apply it to your trading. And of course, you can follow us on GammaEdges with an S on Twitter. So thanks, everyone. Have a great Friday, and looking forward to seeing you in the forum. Take care.